Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everyone Deserves a Chance. Today, we have the reason why I started this podcast to begin with. His name is Alex Lovely. If you guys are curious to find out more about it, just do a simple Google search. Legends Equity Group is the name of the company that got me going in commercial real estate. Alex, thank you for coming and welcome to Everyone Deserves a Chance. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hey, man. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this podcast with you. Love what you're doing. Love all the content that you're putting out there. It's amazing. So a little bit about me. I've been in real estate for a little over 18 years now. I've done everything in the residential side, flips, lease options, short-term, mid-term, long-term, new builds, anything that you can think of in the residential side I've done. And for the past 2.5 years or so, I've transitioned to the multifamily side and taking all of my skills, my experiences, and my resources going into multifamily. It's been a pretty smooth transition. Now currently somewhere around 800 plus units that I have under management. And yeah, just been a really amazing journey, and I'm blessed to be able to share it with you.
I'm so happy. This is the moment where I usually plug in my Legends Equity Group, right? But there's no reason here because I have the founder. So I'm really happy that you decided to go in this journey with us and not alone. Like most of other syndicators that I know, you've decided to give us a chance into becoming syndicators, or at least learning from the inside out the deals. And as the challenge that we have at the very beginning, you already know it. We talked about this many times before, and you spoke about it plenty of times too. When you have to choose a syndication at the very beginning, so you heard about commercial real estate, or you need commercial real estate, right? You want to shelter some of your wealth. You want to do something with your money in the space of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, right?
Right.
So let's make it clear. This is that space, right, where the sharks are meeting the whales, the great whites, and everybody else. Alex is not one of them, and this is what I want to say. It's a normal guy like anybody else, just like me and you. Alex, I meet every day a lot of people that are looking to penetrate the space, and some of them are coming to me without the knowledge, the minimum required knowledge for the syndication model. They really do not comprehend the model. They're being sold on a course or seminar, right? A $20,000 price tag seminar or even more, into this idea that you're going to be able, if you're a flipper, or if you have a house, or if you have a little bit of money, if you sold your property, in the case that I'm talking to right now, a restaurant, right? You're going to be able to become a syndicator. It's that simple. You're just going to put the money down, 25%, because it's commercial, and you're going to be able to buy a building.
Yeah.
And this was the first road that I took initially, and it didn't go very well. Can you please explain us the structure of syndication?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to touch the point on the masterminds that you were talking into. I think there's a lot of people offering great content and great masterminds out there. And I think everybody wants to teach the process and how it's done. But I think for most people, the important thing is for them to really look at the track record of the people teaching it. Right. First of all, are they actually doing deals? Is there an opportunity really there for them? And they have to look inside. Am I willing to commit? Right. If I'm going to commit $20,000, it's not just the information that's delivered to me, because doing these deals is actually much simpler. The process is much simpler than most people really imagine. But the doing part of it is less than 5% really of the entire process. How to do it is like 5%. The other 95% is really everything that is tied to mindset. Okay. How committed can you be to something? Like, are you willing to be open to learn? Are you willing to put your own beliefs aside so that you can try something else on? Those are all self-awareness type of things that is going to either get in the way or help you have it happen. Right. So there's a whole process to, I believe, going through becoming a syndicator. And it does not have to be hard. It does not have to be challenging. But what most people need to really get through is that you don't do this alone, right? One of the mindsets that has to be shifted Okay. And if you really want to succeed and do it fast and get into the game early, is you have to change your mindset from I want 100% of $1 million. Okay. If you're going to get $1 million, would you want 100% of a million, or would you want 1% of 100 million? See, that's a every moment shift. When you're going into a deal, when you're going into syndication, you have to think about that. Most people will think, oh, I don't get enough. What do I get? What do I get? And I was just watching Kung Fu Panda, and there's a line in Kung Fu Panda that literally said, when will you understand that the more you take, the less you have? And I think that really resonates with just the philosophy of how you can be successful in this space, because this space is all about teamwork. Okay, because alone, none of us are taking down apartment buildings, especially when we're just starting. We don't have the track record, we don't have the capital, the lenders aren't going to lend us the money, we don't have the experience. How do we get that? Right? So the whole entire goal is finding what it is that you need. And I think that's going to be the really important thing. And we can definitely talk about what it is that's needed to get a deal done. And then perhaps people can really, from this call or from this podcast, really recognize, all right, these are the things that I need. I have to go out and get those things first. And I have to partner with people.
Thank you so much for explaining it and putting it this way. I want to point something out that was extremely important to me in choosing the syndicator that I want to do deals with and that I want to work with, the alignment. I think that's, to me personally, that was the most important part. And I worked over 2 months around the clock just to figure out if I am in alignment with you and your syndicator and the team that you have. So what I did, I started interviewing pretty much everybody around you and your team, and I did a little bit of background on the deals that you've done and with the partners that you worked before. And that's how I ended up stumbling across Massive Capital and talking to the people there. And that's how I start getting and gaining trust. Mm-hmm. That was my perspective. And then I realized that alignment is everything. And I know it from other businesses and other things that I've done in the past, that when shit hits the fan, if you're not in alignment, then you do have issues. Decision-making process becomes very complicated just because the first initial decision wasn't done properly. So what do you recommend? Like, how do you suggest to find that alignment? If you are a newbie, you're on the other side, right? You're not the syndicator, you're on the complete opposite spectrum.
Yeah. So I think something that every individual needs to recognize is that I'm a very spiritual person. So I really believe in energies and energetics as well. And I believe that each one of us has a compass, we call it the gut feeling, we call it intuition, whatever you want to call it. But there is a part of us that know when we meet somebody, we're like, wow, I'm really attracted to this person. Not like really from a male, female, like sexual attraction, but there is something about this person that I'm attracted to. That is the first sign. But usually that's the first sign for me to be like, all right, let me explore deeper into this relationship. Now, what you just spoke into is due diligence, right? Due diligence, this is what we have to do when we buy real estate as well. You do your due diligence on the people that you're going to work with. Okay, when people invest with you, they're not only investing into the deal, they're investing in the deal because they're investing in you. You were looking to build that trust. Now, in this industry, okay, it's not a very large, it's not, there's a lot of players, but there are a couple main players, right? And how have they become so successful? That's what we have to model after. We always want to look at it. And these are people that are really always looking to create strategic partnerships. If I'm starting a company, and I know I'm not going to be the best at something. I'm like, okay, great. Who's going to be better than me? That's who I want on my team. I'm not going to have the most money. Okay, who's got the funds? Who's got the money? And I probably don't have the most amount of time. So these are, for me, when I look to start something, I'm looking to put a team together. That is always the mindset you got to have when you're looking to buy real estate. Now, if you go into it and some of the blockages is, oh, if I share too much of this, then I'm going to have less. You want to look at long term. Every deal is a stepping stone to the next deal. And when I first got started, I invested with a bunch of people, right? I wanted to see how they operated. What was the process after? I sent them the money. Okay, is there good communication? All of this for me was, I'm paying my tuition. I know real estate's fairly safe. but I'm paying my tuition to learn how to be a good operator, how to be a good communicator, right? What's in, what's out? How did I feel about it? So from that place, I'm a teacher, mentor. Like my passion is in that coaching. So of course, I go right into how can I share this with others? These are things that people don't have to go through. This is why we created the mastermind. This is why I do podcasts, free calls every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, pretty much 7 days a week. I do free calls
Yeah,
because I want to share it.
Yeah, can you please talk more about that? Expand a little bit on it, on the schedule that you are having right now. I know it's a little bit hectic. I personally am not able to follow through right now as I'm taking care of something else. But what's your schedule? What do you offer?
So everything, if you guys follow my LinkedIn, it's at Alex Lovely. Everything's really in my link tree. All the resources that I give, they're all free. Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, we do a rookie roundtable. So anyone that's interested, wanting to step into the space, that's the first place you go. Thursday nights, we do some sort of underwriting on deals. People get to show their deals. We do underwriting. We learn that way. Sundays and Wednesdays are reserved for my spiritual calls where I try to bring spirituality and money together into one space. How do we create harmony in our financial situations? Right. And then Tuesdays are a mastermind call for our team. Saturday, we have a new show called the Deal Tank Show. And that's where people bring deals that have been underwritten already to the table. And we have a panel of experts giving feedback and things like that on there. Dealtank.tv is where people will find all of that. It's all free. All of this is free information because, first of all, for me, it's not about getting something in return. It's about the more I give, the more relationships that is possible for me. The possibility of each relationship opens up new doors to infinity, to an infinite possibility of future outcomes. So for me, I'm just like, how many people can I impact? How many people can I create a new relationship with? And this is the way I do it. Instagram, social media, those are the top of my funnel. Meetups, conferences, those are all the top of the funnels. And I bring them down to things that I do so that I can showcase myself. And that's just the way that I do it. I think nurturing and cultivating relationships, the most important part of the game. I always talk about ROR, return on relationships, not super focused on the ROI, right? Everyone's focused on ROI because when you focus on ROI, you're thinking about yourself and you're thinking about the deal. What can it do? What am I getting out of it? If I invest into a mastermind, what am I getting out of it? ROR is you make it happen. You determine the value. What you put into it, you're going to get out of it. And it's always ever expanding. ROR.
Yeah, on that, I want to stop you for a second there.
Yeah.
You touched something very important. What you put into it is what you're getting out of it. I can't stress it long enough when I meet people at real estate meetups and places that I go, that you have to do the work, man. Everybody tells me, I know it's long-term investment. I know this is a long-term deal. I'm going to take my time and I'm just going to go along with it. And then 6 months down the road, I meet them again and nothing happened. And then a year down the road, I meet them and nothing happened. Maybe they join a mastermind community, but they still don't have any deals under their belt, or they didn't fundraise, they didn't learn any role or associate or taken any role into a syndication. So that's one of the points that I want to make. But I want to go back to that day one when I was vetting the syndicator. I want to go back there and yes, like you said, it was a process of due diligence that I was doing on the syndication. But the reason why I ended up in this process, and I know a lot of people are falling through the same things over and over again, just like I did. I liked and trust you the very first day that I met you. I was very excited about the opportunity, about the community and everything else. Then a week into it, it starts getting heavy. It was too much content in my head. Everything was new terms. I started losing my feet. Although I was a real estate guy, I knew about 90% of it, but the other 10% that I didn't know were part of the syndication. Like the roles, the people. I remember you talking to somebody saying that, hey, you can become a GP using being boots on the ground. I'm like, what the hell is someone talking about? Like, how can somebody that lives right next to a building can be part of a general table, right? Into a syndication deal. So can you please talk about that specific role or the specific roles in the syndication?
Yeah. So the basics of different roles that's required in the deal is you have somebody that is finding the deal. So if you are a great communicator with brokers or very extrovert, you want to talk to people, great. You can source deals. Somebody's got to find the deals. So sourcing the deal also includes in that subcategory underwriting a deal, negotiating with a broker, right? So negotiation skills are a part of it. Getting the deal under contract, that's another part of it. So that all belongs to one bucket, right? That's valuable to a team. If you want to take down a deal, somebody's got to find the deal, somebody's got to underwrite it and negotiate it, all of that. Now, the second part that people also need to know is once you got that deal under contract, you have pieces that needs to be in place. First of all, immediately they're going to need a down payment. Usually it's about 1%. The smaller the deal, obviously the higher the percentage is going to probably be. But you need somebody to put, that's called a risk capital, right? Risk capital is the earnest money that's got to be put down, right? That money obviously within a certain period of time is refundable. But then you have to do inspections, appraisals, attorney fees, all the other fees, survey fees, any other fees that may be included in the due diligence process. That is called risk capital because that money is being put up. It's not the investor's money. You or someone on your team has to put that up because if it's risk, you could lose it. If you don't close the deal, you could lose all that money. If the deal doesn't work out, you've spent the money for the appraisal, for the attorney and everything. You're not getting that back, right? So you got to have that risk. That's a spot that's available. If you have money and you're willing to take a risk just to get onto the GP team to learn, yeah, that's a place to do it. Now, I wouldn't say if you had $25,000, that's the place that you would start playing, right? It's too risky. But if you had $200,000 laying around and it would cost 25 grand to be a part of a risk capital side of the general partnership table, do it. Because regardless of the percentage you get, you have an opportunity now to run and be a part of a deal, which is invaluable. Learning how that deal goes is invaluable. So that's the second position, which is the risk capital part, right? Obviously, now the third one is who's going to manage this asset. Managing the asset, okay, is a lot of work. So that's got to be somebody with experience. Now, subcategory to that, you have marketing, you have investor relations, you have who's going to be your boots on the ground, like you said, who's close enough to the property, right? That maybe they'll take phone calls. Maybe when there is maintenance work and things like that, they got to go meet the maintenance people. Maybe when there's a new tenant moving in, they may want to be there with the leasing agent to lease up the units. So it's all the checking the property, being able to have eyes on the property. That is important. And the fourth one is you need capital to close this deal, right? Normally somewhere between, like you said, 25 to 45% you got to put down on a deal. Where's that money coming from? Who's going to raise that capital, right? And normally what you would need to do is you would have to come ahead of time and say, hey, we could bring $500,000 to the table. How much of a GP percentage would you split, right? So something like that. Of course, they can't just singly be a capital raiser. They got to be other parts in the deal as well. So you got to have those things. So those are SEC requirements and regulations that people want to look into. That will be a whole separate conversation. But part of capital raising will also get you in being a part of a syndication deal. Now, the fifth part is, pretty much tied to the EMD part and the risk capital, which is somebody's got to sign on to the loan, right? The loan, these lenders, although they don't look at people specifically, they look more at the deals and commercial. You still need somebody to show the net worth. Okay, usually it's 1-to-1. If you're getting a $10 million loan, you got to have a $10 million net worth. Okay, and then you also got to show liquidity. You got to show 10% liquidity. You got to have $1 million liquid somehow, stocks, cash, whatever, something that's liquid. And then you may also need to show 2 years of asset management or being a general partner experience. So those are all different regulations. Different types of loans have different requirements. But those are the main 5 parts. But what I want to get across to everyone is there are so many more subcategories in each one of those that everybody has a set of skills that could contribute to the success of a team. So for example, you talked about your due diligence. Just from this conversation right here, I, as an operator, syndicator that's looking for talent and looking for people on the team, I may say, wow, so that's how you scoped out just to join masterminds. You did due diligence like that. You did all that due diligence. When I look at a property, I want somebody that has that sort of commitment and eye for due diligence Maybe I want you on my team to do that. Or I know that I can train you up. So then you come with me. And if I were reverse in your place, I would say, yeah, give me any percentage, I'm in. And then now you're in the game. It's about getting your first deal done. Once you get your first deal done, the rest just comes easier and easier. But most people are stuck being able to get the first deal done because of limitations, own belief systems that whether I need more percentage, I won't work for 1%, I won't work for a fraction of a percent. Listen, it's about getting yourself into the first deal. The first deal I was in, I raised over $1 million. I didn't get what I thought would be a fair compensation today, but then I was like, give me anything. Give me any percentage. I just want to be a part of it. I want to learn. Learning is the number one key for me. And then building return on relationships with those guys that are a little bit ahead of me who gave me the opportunity. And because of that, 6 deals done within 1 year together with those same guys.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Again, I'm happy to be a legend.
Mm-hmm. I'm
and
happy you are too.
Legends. Yes. I'm going to shift a little bit of topic here. It's not much time left, so I want to be very conservative with our time today.
Sure.
But I still want to discuss this. There's a percentage of people here in the syndication model that are hitting a wall when it comes down to relationships. And you and I talked at one point, I'm meeting people, going to events, and it looks like it's a very time-consuming effort that most of people that I meet decide to do and put into the syndication model. Now, as a mediation, I know myself, I did 12-hour days for probably 3 months, 4 months. And I got sucked down the rabbit hole because I wanted to learn more and get another course and get another, click this, click that, do this, do that, call this guy, buy the CRM, buy 3 CRMs. Why don't you buy 5 CRMs? Like I went bananas in multiple directions. The thing is that where I had most to suffer was home. The reason of me doing the syndication was because I wanted to be a businessman, in essence, with a good backup plan. And my backup plan was real estate. So in my quest to success in becoming a syndicator, I start slacking on the most important part. My why is my family. That's what I keep saying to everybody. But then my family was the least respected in the whole deal of syndication. Going to seminars, traveling 3 days at a time, 4 sometimes, if not 5, being away. How do you, Alex, as a syndicator now, with all this going on? Because I know how many deals you closed, and I have 1 call a week. You have 5 or 7, because you got 7, right? Scheduled ahead of time. So I can't even imagine how your schedule looks like. But how do you mitigate? What do you do to keep it all together, man, to keep your relationship at home together?
Yeah. So I think something that I learned through all the different personal development stuff that I've done is that communication is going to be the most important thing. First of all, knowing your why. Why am I doing all this? I want to provide for my family. Good. That means you don't put your family on the back burner now. Right. And the way you do that is you have this conversation first. Hey, listen, wife, I kids, like, this is the plan. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Can you guys get on board with that? Can you get behind it? Can we agree on it? Can we have a weekly meeting about it to check in? Right? Your family you have to have check-ins, just like you have check-ins with your properties. You got to measure the KPIs. So for example, let me just share how I do it. First of all, everything that I do, I give 100% of my attention to. Okay, so when I spend time with my wife, when I spend time with my dog, whatever, those are 100% presence. I give it presence. I'm like, there's nothing else that's happening. I'm not taking calls. I don't even look at my phone. Your family and the people that you claim to love is going to know that. They don't require all of your time, but they do require attention and presence when you're with them. That's super important. So I think doing that. Now, when I do my calls, I'm 100% here. My wife knows that I'm going to be 100% here. She's not going to disturb me. Anything that happens, she will be like, I'll handle it. As long as you're doing your call, you won't get disturbed. There's clear communication. The second thing is we have check-ins every week. Just like I have property management check-in every week with my property managers, we track KPI. That means we're looking at how many people move in, how many people move out, where did it come from, how much are we spending on marketing, what is it, how much does each tenant cost us to bring in, and how much are we making from it. All of that we're tracking is just as important to check back at home. Every week, we're like, hey, let's go through the P&L of our life. Where are we spending money on all of that? How are we doing with our purpose? Like we establish our purpose. Our purpose is to inspire love and joy in people. Hey, have we been doing that this week? Was there any points that maybe we showed up like not loving, that we were in argument and we didn't express and inspire love in others? So we check in with that. So we're always in communication, and you got to have weekly check-ins minimum. What ends up happening for most people is you go all in. Hey, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you. But I don't know if you've ever read the book, Way of Superior Man. The guy goes home, he makes $1 million, and the wife's like, you forgot the milk. And he's like, dude, I just brought $1 million home for us. This is what I've been doing all this for. But people want to know that what they say and that they really matter in your life, not in your own head that you're making sacrifices for them. Right. So the communication has to be there. You got to be on the same page. Hey, we're doing this together. We're doing this for the future, for the vacations, for the financial freedom that we will live together, for our kids' futures, all of that, where you are on the same page. But if you start to go off and you're on your own fantasy about what you're doing, and she is back home or he is back home and he's not on the same page, because every single time you go to a conference, you are going to a different place than her or than him, right? They're not going to experience it. That means there's going to be a space that's created. You understand something, you got a new perspective they don't have. How do you bring that together? There needs to be a conversation all the time. My wife's always asking me, hey, what are you going through? What are you thinking about? And a lazy part of me will be like, nothing, don't worry about it. Let me just worry about it myself. That does not support the relationship. So I'll get out of, even though I may be tired, I'm like, okay, so this is what's going on with this person, that person. Then we start to actually have a conversation, and she feels like she's a part of it. People that you claim to love, they want to be a part of what you're doing, and you want them to be a part of it too. You don't want to be climbing to the top of the mountain by yourself. So I think that's really important to learn to balance all of that and to really know what your why is. Every day, you got to check in with yourself. Okay, what do I claim to love? I work with my own personal coach. What do I claim to love? How am I doing with it? I claim to love my finance. I claim to love my health, claim to love my family, my dog, all of these things. Most people get busy and they forget to go to the gym. They make an excuse. Well, I'm making money, I'm busy, and I don't take care of my health. All right, so something slips, but can you just keep doing little check-ins? And we got the time. We just got to make priority of things that are important. So I think that's my kind of long answer for all that.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm happy you put it out this way. And yes, you're saying the checks and balances along the way where you were talking. I was like, I'm not going to the gym. God damn it! Why are you saying that?
Hey, I saw some of the times that you went to the gym, but now you're busy. Other things start falling apart.
It's
exactly
man. It's exactly like you're reading my mind, man. It's exactly what's happening, and I'm guilty of doing it. Checks and balances, the board meetings that you're talking about. Yes, you're right. Every time I have challenges in my relationships, it turns out to be because of the conversations, because the checks weren't there or weren't done because I was away that week, and when I came back, I got busy with something else, and then the next week I had to fly out again. And here we go, 3 weeks without even saying hello at the end of the day.
Put it in your calendar, man. Like we have on my calendar on Sundays, it's blocked off. It's the time for me and my wife to come together, talk about our finances, talk about our week. How are we doing in our purpose? Yeah.
I don't have it in the calendar, Alex, but
gotta put it there, man.
I have a special circumstance. I'm home most of the times with kids and family. So that gives me another set of excuses why I'm not doing it. Okay.
Hey man, we all got them. We all got excuses, but at the end of the day, results will show our commitment, right? So if we are not having this connection with our family and stuff, it's not about how often you're there. You could be there all the time. You can be there all day. But if you're not really there, are you really there? That's
the complaint that my wife had. That's the complaint. That's exactly the complaint my wife had. Says you're here physically,
but you're not here.
Not here by miles. And I keep walking by it. I'm like, what is she saying? Well, I mean, I gotta do this. I'll come back to the conversation. So that's part of the pitfall, 100%. I heard something interesting yesterday in a call that I had, and I just want to put it out there for people that are listening to us. There was this gentleman in Front Row Dads. It's another mentorship mastermind community that I'm part of. And one of the guys that was mentoring us for our first call as a group, as a pod, he was saying something very interesting. He said, I found my inner peace when I realized that offering safety for my wife and security has nothing to do with money. And this guy's out there. They're big numbers, right? And I'm looking at him like, man, I'm not there yet. Like I'm hustling every day. I'm busting my chops for money. I'm motivated by it. I still see it's as a journey that it's not fully developed. So I'm looking up at this guy. And my next question, I feel bad that I didn't ask. Like, when did you figure that one out, man? Like, when you had the money or before you had the money?
Probably running into some problems, right? And then also going to men's groups and leadership groups and mentorships and circles where they talk about this stuff. We don't have enough of that. Not enough men come together and talk about that, because naturally men, we're not taught that much, right? We're not really taught. We're just taught to be like, okay, let's go out, hustle, provide, make money. That's really our only job. That all of that stuff, in the beginning, on the surface, a woman might be attracted to that, but after that, everybody just wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be understood. And none of that has to do with money. So when you're talking about the 3% man,
Oh yeah,
that's it. It's the ones that are able to be present, the ones that are able to bring attention and safety and an awareness and presence to their relationships, so that people feel like they are seen by you. People feel appreciated, that they're understood. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes 100% presence at that time, at any given time.
What do you do to course correct when something like that happens? Because it happened to me fairly recently. I would say at the beginning of the year, this year,
Yeah.
where my wife and I, we got very close to the edge, and luckily for us, we found two books that I can't stop talking about it all the time.
The Amazing Development of Man, is that the one?
Yes, and Understanding Women. Yes, that's the second book, correct. I wasn't going to bring it up, but what do you do to course correct? I'm lucky that I had in my toolbox, I've read so many books that they come handy when the opportunity arises. So as soon as I think that's the beauty of the books that I've read, at least for myself. When a challenge comes and I don't know how to figure it out, I'm like, okay, but I read a book about that. Let me go and pick it up. I know which one is it, and I know how to get it, and I know how to use it right away. And this is what I did in my relationship pitfall. But now, what do you suggest in doing if it happens to you right now?
I think the first thing is let go of the judgment of yourself. We got to let go of all the judgments and the shaming and the bad and wrong of why it's happening. And we have to immediately bring ourselves to a place that's not about finding who's right and who's wrong. I think that's got to be out first. When we can get to a place that's not about finding the bad guy right now, it's about us coming together to find a solution. Like first getting to that place that, hey, we're trying to find a solution together. Because all the conflict will just add if you're looking to see who's right, who's wrong. Oh, but I did this. Oh, but I'm doing this. And but this many times a week that I bring out the garbage and I clean the dish. I do the laundry, and she's, oh, I do this. That's not going to get you anywhere. Let go of the need to be right about anything. Okay. And just say, let's find a solution together. It's me and you together versus the problem. It's not me and you trying to find who's the bad guy, who's the good guy here.
Do you do a quick meditation before you do that? Because I start jumping.
Oh yeah. You gotta get yourself to a clear space first, because she'll say something and she knows the buttons to push. Right? So you gotta be like, okay, there's no buttons here. You gotta get yourself to a very neutral, calm, collected place, and then you have this conversation. Oftentimes people want to talk when they're too heated and the energy's too high. You gotta take a breather, count to 10, whatever it takes. Do your meditations, anything that it takes to bring yourself down so that you can correct your mind to, okay, it's peace that I want. It's love that I want. It's happiness that I want. It's not being right. Because we'll go into, no, but if she only did this, then this wouldn't have happened. If she only supported me, it wouldn't happen. None of that matters. Right now, the problem has nothing to do with all that. Okay, the problem is she feels unseen. She feels unloved. She feels not understood. You trying to be right about it is not going to solve that problem at all. You have to come from a place of like, how do we solve this problem together? And here's the thing. Everything comes down to an agreement that you guys can make. If you can bring your conversation down to, okay, I hear you, babe. I hear you. Let's make an agreement right now. What can I do? Okay. Usually it has nothing to do with what you can do, but in those situations, okay, if I wake up early and the first thing I do is I don't touch my phone and we spend some time cuddling, maybe that's it. Right? She needs to feel love. She feels attention, right? And you make little agreements where you can honor it. Every time you honor an agreement, you build the trust. That's it. It's as simple as that. Creating agreements. Now, not to weaponize agreements, that's a whole separate conversation, but to really just create agreements that really support the relationship. How can I support you feeling more loved? How can I support you being more seen? And when we focus on that, because if our family at home, if what we're trying to teach and do in real estate is to create financial freedom, and then at home things are not good, it's going to go and affect everything you're doing. You're not going to be able to manage the property correctly. Your mind is not going to be on the property anymore. Now you don't have 100% attention with your wife. You don't have 100% on your property. Your mind is just racing and you're doing nothing in excellence. And that's the problem. And we have to just slow down, handle each question, each situation with 100% awareness and presence.
Thank you for your answer. I'm gonna push
You
it
get onto something that I'm very passionate about, equally to real estate. So awesome.
I'm gonna push it a notch forward because I know a few of your buttons. Okay. In Course in Miracles, this is the challenge that I'm facing most of my times, man. I am not in touch with my feelings, and I'm a man, and I'm openly admitting that I do not know how to get to my feelings. They're bottled up somewhere down there. I don't know if the society helped me or if I decided to go this road alone, but I'm sure there are a lot of other men out there doing the same thing. Growing up, I had a childhood that I thought I was happy. I don't remember anything that was bad in my childhood, even if it's an adult, I don't remember any trauma or anything major. I know it's there, it's always there, but I don't remember. So now I don't remember it because I've been stuffing it. I've been hiding it. And I've been hiding it for a lifetime. And I got into a relationship when I was young, and I don't really know that I knew what love is. I love my wife because I felt the maximum feelings that I ever felt up until that moment. So that's what I thought, and I considered that was love for me. I'm like, okay, I don't have any more than this. Like, this is it. She's got to be the one. So then moving forward, routine, years, I've been celebrating recently my 10-year anniversary. So 10 years down the road, it became, yeah, she's there. She's always there.
It's routine.
Like, yes, I can't even say the word, but it is routine 100%. So when I get into an argument with my significant other, it comes based on my fears, pretty much. Like, it's something that bothers me, and it bothers my ego, and it bothers it because I am personally afraid of something. I don't want her to leave me. She's the mother of my kids. I don't want not to see my kids ever again. I don't want her to move in a different state, like things like that. But those are like projections of my mind that come through fear. And that's why I said I'm going to push your buttons, because I want to come down to Course in Miracles, where you teach it. And I've heard it, and I want you to extrapolate a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well,
what is fear? What is fear? That's the question, because I know it affects it so much, at least my relationship. What is fear? Is it real? And what is love? And how do you compensate them both?
Yeah. So here is a simple way to put it. I'm not going to give a whole lecture on A Course in Miracles here, but everything in your mind, there's only two perspectives ever in your mind. One comes from fear, is anything that's jealousy, envy, anger, judgment, attack, defense. These are all from a place of fear. We know that we come from a place of fear when our results are something that is loveless, right? Something that is an attack. We get into an argument, we get into a conflict, we lose our peace. Love brings clarity. Love brings oneness. Love brings unity. Love brings gratitude. Love brings appreciation, right? When we think about when we think about our significant others, if we go down the rabbit hole of if she only supported me, then X, whatever is going to happen. We go down the rabbit hole of every single time that she did not support me. We start collecting evidence. That means we're choosing to see fear. It isn't even real, because on the other side is, wow, she was such a great mother. I'm so grateful that she's even putting up with all this. And we start thinking that way. And that goes down a whole different tunnel. But see, the vision of one costs you the vision of the other. And the only choice that you really have is, will I choose to look from a place of love, or will I choose to look place from a fear? Neither one is real, but they're your choice. And if you choose it, the experience will be in alignment to that experience. The experience will be in alignment to your thinking, to what's in your mind. Right? So do you train your mind to pay attention more to loving things, or do you train your mind to look at all the things that you're afraid of? And then you start worrying about the future. You start regretting the past. You start blaming, attacking, and everything that you see it with skepticism. Or is it from a place of love and gratitude, and everything you see it optimistically and with hope and with faith and with just so much trust, right? Those are the two places that you look at. Now, Course in Miracle goes a lot deeper into love and special relationships and all of that we create. But really, at the end of the day, just know I only really have two choices. There's only two voices in my mind. Which one will I give more attention to? And where I give more attention to, it grows. So the Course says that's the law of expansion, right? And we all understand it. Where attention goes, where energy goes, or where attention goes, energy flows, right?
Goes, energy flows. I know that because it's going to be my next tattoo and the first one that I'm ever going to have.
Good. It's a reminder for you, and you get to choose. Let me give attention to loving thoughts. Loving thoughts create loving experiences. If you think that you're having loving thoughts, but you're having rough experiences and conflicts and fights and stuff, nah, it's not really loving thoughts. Those are still like some sort of special, weird ego love, which isn't real.
That's the trauma that I'm talking about, that I most of the times I don't even know about. And it comes
we just choose. Yeah, we just choose. Yeah. We're like, okay, that's why we practice gratitude. Gratitude is to strengthen our ability to look more towards love. Now, you could worry about the future. You spend more time worrying. Right? One of the best quotes I've ever heard: worrying is a prayer for the worst possible outcome.
Absolutely. I cannot agree. I want to end our conversation on this note, Alex. I thank you so much for your time. I know you got a few more minutes left for another call. Alex, lovely, Legends Equity Group, main syndicator. And the reason why I am here today and I have this podcast is because you supported me, and you actually show me that this is one of the ways of bringing people together, giving more value than actually asking and taking. Because this is one of the pitfalls that I had in real estate. Every meetup and every place I went, I'm like, okay, teach me more. But I didn't offer anything. I didn't give anything back to anybody. Although my knowledge accumulated and I ran higher and higher and I started doing bigger deals, I was asking myself why I don't have the success that I should be having up until now. I know so much. I'm 20 years into real estate and I'm still flipping houses and I'm still doing single family homes. Something's wrong in that picture. But on the other hand, I didn't realize that I wasn't giving. I was just taking. That was my pitfall. I was just taking. And this is the first time when I decided at the beginning of the year to give back. My number grows daily, and I'm very proud to admit that I'm doing something special. Every person that comes in my life, I've decided to make a conscious effort for them to leave better than when they came in.
Hey, make sure you do that every moment, every day, back at home too.
Absolutely. Anybody, anywhere. That was the commitment that I made at the beginning of the year, and I wanted to help like 1,000 people. I'm not there yet. I'm very close to 100, I believe. But it gives me an accountability of the number of people that I'm touching every day. And this is the opportunity that I have here with this podcast. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course.
Working in the future.
Thank you for having me here. And last thing is, I'm blessed that you're on this journey with me. But really, the reason why you're here is because you've chose to commit to all of these things and willing to do the work. So appreciate you and keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, Alex. Take care.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.